Since his unfortunate return to office, Trump has gone full-blown scorched earth. If you take the famous 10,000 feet view, you won't believe your eyes, seriously. If you would be able to forget all the stuff that has happened since this criminal took office, but you would watch it as a time-lapse video, you would not believe the shit that you see. In a two-prong approach, the orange disaster president has made life for Americans living hell and managed to push traditional friends and allies away, to the point that US is not trusted anymore. Just a quick recap, so we know what we are talking about. Trump ran for office promising Americans to make their life better and easier. So, has it happened? No, the reality is that life for Americans has become much tougher than it has ever been in recent history. Cost of living is way up. Employment numbers are way down. Small businesses going under in record numbers. People lose their healthcare and other social services. And the US economy? Under Biden, the US economy was the envy of the world. Now, under the orange fascist, the US economy is shrinking. Well done, you idiot! On top of that, Trump has severely restricted, even ended, human rights. Rights the US has enjoyed for decades. He has ordered mass firing and layoffs, banned abortions. Women can't even get abortions for urgent, life-saving measures. The Republicans pretend such situations don't even exist. Trump has politicized federal data, put ICE agents and military on the streets to conduct unspeakable cruelties, not only against so-called undocumented immigrants, but legal US citizens. He is still trying to shut down the free press, silence comedians and critics, to influence established law professionals not to take any cases against him. Trump corrupted the Supreme Court, disobeyed numerous court orders, and don't forget, he orchestrated the insurrection in 2021. And that almost feels like peanuts today. And if you think criminal Trump has inflicted enough damage on America, you're greatly mistaken. I have said it many times before. If Trump's deteriorating health does not prevent further disasters from happening, then America, watch out. Because gangster Trump will never leave the White House again. At the first day he returned to office, he started to turn America into an authoritarian fascism country. And make no mistake, he has succeeded. There will be either no elections in 2028 or it will be a Russian-style election, completely rigged with predetermined outcome. The rule of law has excellently fallen out of the window, and Trump's Gestapo, now called ICE, enforces whatever Trump wants. Right now, the world is watching. Europe, Asia, and Canada, everyone knows, has known for quite some time what the orange gangster is up to. And consequently, he managed to erode America's good standing in the world. Allies laughing about him, mocking him. In fact, no one can stand that guy. Why? Really? Now isn't that obvious? Because not only does he lie in record speed, he is uneducated, dumb, and inhumane. And on top of that, he is arrogant, has no manners, and no fucking clue how international diplomacy, trade, and economics work. That resulted in a ridiculous trade war that has seriously impacted the lives of Americans, but also people in countries that includes many European countries, Asia, Australia, and us, Canada. America's former allies know what's at stake here. The US is facing emerging gangster fascism. Of course, governments, officials have their way of dealing with it. They have to play by established rules, stay within norms. And over the last few weeks, we have seen such actions already taken place. Because since the idiot doesn't have a clue of what's going on and easily falls for smoke and mirrors, fake deals have been made with the orange clown to appease him for now. And he is so proud of himself.
Thank you very much. So we have good news. We've reached a deal. It's a good deal for everybody, I believe. And I think you were saying this is probably the biggest deal ever reached in any capacity, trade or beyond trade.
It is.
It's a giant deal with lots of countries.
We have a trade deal between the two largest economies in the world. And it's a big deal, it's a huge deal. It will bring stability, it will bring predictability. That's very important for our businesses on both sides of the Atlantic. It's 15% tariffs across the board, all inclusive. It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Was tough negotiations. I knew it at the beginning, and it was indeed very tough, but we came to good conclusions for both sides. So again, congratulations and many thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now that gives anyone more time to strategize and implement new and reliable defense and trade relations. But that's not all. There is a very powerful force silently rising off the ground, and it's called grassroots. And it started right here in awesome Canada. When Trump insults us and says we should become his fucking 51st state because we don't deserve our own country, when he says he wants to annex Greenland and would not hesitate to use military force. Now, MAGA, don't you pretend this didn't happen. When his Gestapo harasses our people or any other traveler at their airport, because some people are still so stupid enough to travel to the US, when his Gestapo snatches folks off the street and making them disappear into concentration camps, then yeah, we know exactly what we are dealing with. He is not a president, but a gangster fascist in nothing but a cheap suit. In April, when the Trump terror started, Canadians stopped buying American. Slogan like BABA or BABA, buy anything but American, appeared. Customers literally forced grocery store owners, hang on, I just want to make sure that the orange idiot understands what I'm saying. Grocery store. So customers literally forced the owner of grocery stores to clearly mark Canadian products so no one would buy the American stuff.
They went ahead and they added Made in Canada labels permanently onto the bags.
And then, quickly the Canadian government, our government, picked up on it and took American booze off the shelves.
American staples like wine, beer, and spirits have seen the biggest change being wiped off Canadian shelves. Earlier this year, multiple Canadian provinces announced they were pulling American alcohol from their store shelves. And in March, Canada imposed a 25% tariff on all U.S. alcohol products. A 25% tariff on distilled spirit imports from Mexico and Canada could cost more than 31,000 U.S. jobs.
So we're in our wine section now. Our wine business, roughly 35-40% of our red wine sales is California cabs and blends. So that's $60,000 a week in sales that are just gone. They've evaporated from the United States. We're replacing it, and we're replacing it with import wines from France, from South Africa, from Australia, from New Zealand.
In 2024, Canada was the U.S.'s top export market for alcohol, exporting $435 million worth of wine, $221 million in distilled spirits, and $41 million in beer to Canada. The loss to the U.S. is a boon to Canada, with the Buy Canada movement adding roughly $10 billion to the country's economy.
The exports of U.S. wine to Canada are virtually down to zero, or they're closing in.
Next, Canadians stopped traveling to the US.
Canadians, by and large, avoiding spending on U.S. vacations.
Everything from the day trips to buying less groceries across into Washington State, or going to do a weekend trip to Seattle, or just their family holidays they're not doing anymore.
The numbers go deeper. Spending is down 47% in Washington State. In the U.S. as a whole, it's down 1/3. Online shopping at U.S. retailers has dropped by 14%, with the biggest drop in clothing purchases.
What's really interesting from our perspective is this is really hard dollars data. Our members, we have almost 600,000 of them, are spending significantly less in the U.S. A year-over-year change of that magnitude would have been unthinkable a year ago.
Experts say the downturn matches the drop in cross-border traffic. Crossings into Whatcom County are down roughly 40%. The holdback of Canadian customers is having an impact on businesses along the I-5 corridor. What's unusual about this downturn is how sharp the decline was and how consistent Canadians have been with their preferences to spend elsewhere.
My wife and I, we snowbirded with our RV in the US. We flew to California, the East Coast and other places. But not anymore, and no one of our friends does. One could feel how the resistance grew almost day by day. We started to call it exactly what it is, a resistance. And the more countries will join and make this global effort, no bully stands a flippin' chance. And get this, the US, which was the biggest player in travel and tourism worldwide, is literally the only country out of 184 assessed countries that expected to see a drop in international visitor spending in 2025. Yep. Meantime, places like Europe, Australia and Asia are booming with tourists. But the US is struggling big time, with super low visitor numbers affecting their economy. And it's not because people don't want to visit, but they feel repelled by Trump's policies and trade wars. America's tourism is in serious trouble. It is projected that the US travel industry will lose over $12.5 billion this year alone, and it's going to get even worse. The effect is felt in major cities and rural towns all over the nation. And we Canadians are proud to have started this sorry but no sorry economic rebellion. Grocery aisles? The Canadian middle finger to American products. Cross-border travel? Poof! Nuked. Overall, the losses to American economy due to this boycott that has started right here in Canada, 29 billion US. You're welcome, MAGA. And as far as international trade goes, Mexico, Peru and Europe are suddenly Canada's new BFFs. The math is simple. Global boycott, according to CNBC, may cost the US economy $90 billion this year. Now that is what I call a big, beautiful deal. Fascists only quit when it costs them more than they can steal. So let's make it expensive. But here's the deal. We can't build a green, prosperous future while the planet-burning fascist gangster holds the flamethrower. So yeah, Canada's job number 1 is to break the fascists' economy. Number 2, build new and secure defense and trade alliances. The bottom line is that Canadians are Democrats at heart, and we know that democracy, stability and sustainability go hand in hand and can only survive together. The Canadian resistance did not come from the government. It was not ordered, it came from us, from the Canadian grassroots. We know many European countries have already joined the club, and so have others. Visitor numbers from Germany to the US have fallen by over 28%, and arrival numbers from the UK have declined by nearly 15%. Those international markets form crucial pillars for American tourism industry. Tourism is far more than just sightseeing and souvenir hunting. It is a vital force thriving the US economy. In 2024 alone, it generated 2.6 trillion in economic activities and supported over 20 million jobs, spanning roles from rideshare driver and mechanic to diner staff, gas stations, hotels, and RV campgrounds. Now Canada is reaching out to every country, every organization, every club, simply every person to join the global resistance. Not only to do what is right, to fight the gangster fascism, but to fight for a fair chance of every country to have a thriving economy, peace and security without being bullied by an orange gangster fascist. Just listen what the former member of the Canadian Parliament, the amazing Charlie Angus, had to say this week in Mexico.
It's a great honor to be with you again, my cousins from the Americas. As I was flying here, I learned that Donald Trump said he was going to inflict intense economic pain on our nation because we recognized Gaza as a state. What he's saying is that we do not have a right to an independent foreign policy. That's the message. The message he gives to Brazil, that you do not have the right to an independent judicial system. This is the age of gangster fascism. And so if we're going to talk about the sustainability of our planet and the sustainability of our economies, we have to talk about it within the issue of the sustainability of democracy. And, Canadians, we're polite people until we're not. And one time, the issue that makes us very not polite is fascists. We fought fascists in the streets of Toronto with baseball bats in 1933. We fought them in the hills of Spain, and we fought them in every battlefield across Europe. Long before America came to the war, Canadians were fighting fascists. So when you tell us that we don't have a right to a nation, when you kidnap our people off the streets and put them in concentration camps, as they're doing to your people, then we know what we're confronting. We're confronting gangster fascism. And I want to place the context of Canada right now because we are in this fragile, powerful moment. I read the polling from last night in Canada. Canadians now are overwhelmingly demanding our Prime Minister support Palestine. There's 95% of the Canadian people want immediate counter tariffs against the United States, and they're willing to sustain economic losses domestically to defend our sovereignty. So it's the determination of ordinary people that's an extraordinary moment. I've never seen anything like this. The willingness of people to come together who were divided and fighting before. But in this moment, we also know that there are powerful forces who would use this period of crisis for their opportunity. And so this is why I'm coming to you, my brothers and sisters in this global south, because we have to be together in the face of the threat. My work in Parliament in the last number of years, I come from mining country. My family were miners. I got to say, I love mining culture. I'm sorry. My town is full of holes. No street lights. But my town built the glass towers of Toronto. And my town built the companies that are in your communities. And we got nothing left but a little museum to show for it. But in my period in Ottawa, I felt the need to go and work with the energy workers in Alberta because Canada is a petro state. We are a defiant petro state, but we often put a nice face on it. And they've politicized energy in a way that has divided the nation. And so I went out to meet with the energy workers, and I expected that I would get a rough ride. And I didn't get a rough ride because they understood the future as much as everyone else. They understood that the planet's burning. They're no fools. Working class people aren't stupid. But they hated that word just transition. And I hate that word just transition too, because coming from a mining town, I never saw just transition. What I saw were people being left high and dry as the companies left town. And so in my first meeting with the energy workers, I said, a just transition from where I'm from, that's when your neighbor has to leave in the middle of the night because they're too embarrassed to say goodbye. That's a just transition that we know. So we need to talk about a jobs transition. and a commitment to jobs. And we worked very, very hard to build a plan to build sustainable energy. And the workers and the support we got was incredible. And then the ideological MAGA governments provincially in the West shut that down. They shut down $33 billion in opportunities, potential for 170,000 jobs, because they'd rather burn the planet than offer a way forward. That's what we're dealing with. You talk about disinformation. You know, our right-wing media are thrilled that we're getting rid of our EV mandates for vehicles, even though it would have given such a benefit to our auto sector. The disinformation telling us that they are actually going to break our nation up. That as Donald Trump threatens our country and we see unprecedented unity, we have leaders in the oil and gas sector and their premiers in the West saying they would break our country up unless we do not give more to the oil industry. We gave them $34 billion in a public pipeline. We pay 50 cents on the dollar for every bit of raw bitumen, raw toxic bitumen that goes to feed the United States. And they say, unless we build more pipelines, they're going to break our country up. So that's the threat we're under. And so I want to bring to you where I see the potential for change, because our Prime Minister is being told we need nation-building projects. We need to break ourselves free of Donald Trump, and we have to become economically independent, which we must. Nation-building projects are about our regions. It's about sustainability. We've had the worst climate fires in the last 3 years. We used to have summer. We don't have summer anymore. We have fire season. We have thousands and thousands of people being evacuated. And our neighbors to the south, the Republicans are sending letters telling us to keep the smoke down as they're bringing in legislation to attack anything to do with clean energy. So we are in this moment, the planet is on fire, and they would rather burn our planet to the ground because that's what gangster fascists do. So I'm going to step outside the box just a bit and give you a sense of what we are doing. Ordinary Canadians have launched a boycott of every single thing American. It wasn't organized, it wasn't planned, it doesn't come from our leadership, it comes from ordinary men and women who won't go into a grocery store and buy a single product from the United States. The shelves are empty. And where there are American products, they're turned upside down so you can tell and not buy them. Within 3 months, we started to see produce from Mexico and Peru. So I am here to say we need to build this alliance together where we start to trade and build with each other. We got lots of snow in the winter. It's hard for us to get green foods. But we will buy your foods because no Canadian will buy American. We stopped travel immediately. We are going to cost the United States economy $29 billion this year. From people saying, I will not go back to the United States, I will not visit, I will not cross the border. The boycott is a powerful tool to take the fascists on. If everyone was involved in the boycott around the world, CNBC predicts a $90 billion hit to the U.S. economy. They are only going to stop the threats to the rule of law if it hurts. And we have to make it hurt. So I come to you to say that we have this moment of opportunity of our nations to work together because your nations are under threat. Your planet is under threat. Our way of life is under threat. And we cannot build the sustainable, progressive future that we are all working towards if we are under the threat of this kind of totalitarian, authoritarian gangsterism. So our first job in Canada right now is to stop that, but it's also to make sure that they don't exploit this crisis to further the agenda of the planet burners, because sustainability is what we have to fight for, because sustainability is rooted in democracy and it's rooted in the future of all of us together. So I look towards my colleagues here to help us and for us to help you build this democratic, sustainable future. Thank you.
So, the more people from every country on the planet join this global resistance, the more effective we will be in fighting the orange idiot in the White House and protecting the world from gangster fascist Trump. So how is it? Are you in? Please tell me in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. For more real news, facts and viewpoints to counterbalance the demagogy of the right-wing media, please like and subscribe. It goes a long way to help the channel. Till next time, I'm Wilfried Lemkuller from Europe Curious.
Together, your tariff made us strong, and so you know.